right, Daily Ticker Time on a Monday, brought to you as always by Pelican Brewing, proudly serving hoppy beverages for everyone. Grab your favorite Pelican brew or try Pelican's hop-infused sparkle hops, featuring fun fruit flavors and zero alcohol. Sparkle into the new year with Pelican Brewing's non-alcoholic sparkle hops. Damn it, Gundy, we haven't even brought you on yet. Joining us now is our good friend Eric Gundersen at Blazer Banter on Twitter. Go give him a follow. The Blazer Banter Substack. I'm going to read something here.
Oh, yeah.
Look, I'm down right now as a sports fan. My NBA organization is irrelevant. I have to watch Chiefs versus Eagles again in the Super Bowl. And then every once in a while you stumble across something that just, it brings a smile to your heart. And I'm reading this. And it says, quote, with less than 3 weeks to go until the trade deadline, almost 2 years after Damian Lillard played his last game in a Blazer uniform, many of the people brought in to help Lillard are somehow still here. It's hard to get excited about the young players of the future when reminders of the past and failure to build around Dame still walk the halls and roam the sidelines. Good morning to you, Gundy. How did you cook like that? Because boy, oh boy, were you spitting.
Good morning. Well, you know, it came from. I felt like I've been waiting to say that for a while. I think that is the truth. It's like I think I was thinking that on opening night, and now I just felt like saying it. And so the take was marinating for a long time. I think that's how it came out. That's why it was cooked so well.
I'm looking right now at the standings, and there's two schools of thought here. There's the diehard Blazer fan that is feeling good. They've won 4 of their last 5. And how about this effort? It's really, Tumani was perfect from the field. And then there's the other Blazer fan that's like, we're 2 more games away from being right there with the Spurs in the win-loss column. And so the most important draft in the last 2 years, or I'd say, debatably in the last year, they are now putting themselves further and further away from the best potential odds. I know people argue about the odds too. What do you just make of right now what the Trailblazers are doing and how they're operating with their young players? The number 7 pick and number 3 pick are on the bench now, and we're playing Jeremy Grant 30 minutes and Anthony Simons 30 minutes so they can collectively score 12 points in a basketball game?
Yeah, I mean, the game on Friday, the Charlotte game was really, of course, Charlotte benched all their decent players, so like it was going to be pretty hard for Portland to not win that game, but the fact that they played Simons and Grant as many minutes as they did, and Scoot only played about 20 minutes, and Shaden only played about 20 minutes, and they go out and win that game on the backs of Simons and Grant, it's like a big what are we doing here? Like, at least last night, Scoot played well, and it was Scoot, Denny, and Tumani. The guy, like 3 of the guys that you think will be here long term, or at least that you'd hope will be here long term. And that was at least a little bit easier to watch and to stomach. But Friday's game was really weird just because it was obviously, you're playing a fellow team that is probably trying to get Cooper Flag, and then you're riding to that win off the backs of Simons and Grant playing tons of minutes. And it's like when it happens like that, it's like, what's going on here? Are you trying to juice their trade value? It's like, that's like the only thing that I can think of that makes any sense in that scenario. But yeah, the wins are that 4-game win streak was very weird. I mean, and it doesn't help when you're trying to get Cooper Flag.
No, the ping pong balls are just disappearing left and right. Eric Gundersen, our guest, blazerbanter.substack.com, at blazerbanter on Twitter. Go give him a follow. I'm curious, Gundy, because I've been there since the middle of the summer, and we can get to some of these guys and what their trade value is coming up here because the deadline's a little over a week away. So we're almost there, and I don't know what the hell they're going to do. And I argued in the middle of the summer, like, why are any of these guys still on the roster when, 1, you're trying to tank, 2, you're trying to develop young guys? What you mentioned, it's been marinating for you all year. Was there a breaking point? Was it the Charlotte game, the benching of Scoot, the benching of Shaden, just an overall wear and tear? Like, what pushed you over to the edge?
I honestly think it was at the end of December when Scoot had those 2 games that were like where he had the game winner and he had that good game when he kind of broke out of the slump, and now he's been playing well for a week. The thing in my mind is like, why in the world has he been coming off the bench and not getting the reps as the lead guard on this team? Because Simons, even at his best, is not really a lead guard. He's really more of an off-ball guy.
He's a 2,
That's really where he's more of a 2. Like, he would thrive in that. And so, like, And also, too, it was coming at this time where it's like both nationally and locally, there was a lot of people coming down on Scoot. And I kind of zoomed down. I'm like, wait a minute. This kid has been totally messed up by the fact that they're not letting him play his position on a regular basis, and they're forcing him to come off the bench. And it's like, yeah, maybe he hasn't performed well, but he also has not been managed correctly. And it's just, it was that, and also like kind of maybe the realization that they're not going to move Jeremy Grant. I think that's really what's setting in for me. Like, I don't think there's some team that's going to come in at the 11th hour and save them from that. I really think I think Grant's here to stay, because I don't think anybody wants 3 more years at that money for him.
Yeah, the contract's not aging well because he's having a terrible season right now. And Anthony Simons, he's had his ups and downs for sure. Not a great year for him, but
don't worry, they'll get 2 first-round picks for Grant, though. Keep holding out.
Yeah.
And don't forget Matisse Thybulle, who's still somehow here. I don't even know if he plays basketball.
I forgot he's even on the roster anymore.
He can walk to a remix game. He can't walk onto the court and actually play a single second, but that's a bad ankle sprain. I want to ask you a little bit about narratives. I think you and we talk a lot on text, but we've also all shared opinions on some of this stuff. I have said clearly the ceiling of Scoot is different than maybe what I thought it was when they drafted him. I think that's just being fair and honest. There was an article in the Oregonian that Bill Oram wrote, good friend of the show, and he quoted a couple scouts who went anonymous, and basically one of them said, he's not a point guard, and I just kind of instantly was like, has this scout watched a single game of Scoot Henderson play this year? Because when I watch him, all I think is traditional table-setting point guard. The narratives of Scoot have become certain things to a lot of people locally and around the league, I guess, to a certain extent. What have you made of that, and why, at any reason, should I trust this organization with their next potential top pick when right now the number 7 pick and the number 3 pick are barely getting the minutes they should, and they're both coming off the bench, so we can play guys who we know they're not going to build around?
Yeah, look, I think the distrust and is totally warranted. I mean, what have they done with those 2 picks? I mean, and Donovan to a lesser extent. Obviously, the thing with him is he just can't play starters minutes, so you might as well bring him off the bench, at least right now. And that's what happened with him in college too. But I think I wouldn't trust. I don't know how to trust it. I don't know how to trust what they're going to do with that next pick. And yeah, it's not a great situation right now, and I think that at the trade deadline, like as much as we'd like for them to make some moves and get Simons and Grant in particular, and Thybulle too, like the guys that Dame really vouched for, like Dame's not here anymore, and Dame's coming in tomorrow, and and a bunch of the guys that he wanted to be on this team around him are still here, and to me that just it doesn't make a lot of sense. When you see how, like Memphis with Marc Gasol, they got him out of there, or even Oklahoma City with Westbrook, they got him out of there. Like when they lost Paul George, like usually when the core of a team is done, you pivot to a new thing. And right now they have not done the pivot. And so they're still in this kind of a limbo, and I don't know when they're going to get out of it. And like, if they get Cooper Flag, great, but like, there's still a lot to be, there's still a lot of work to do, even if that happens.
Yeah, they've given Jeremy Grant and Drew Holiday more than they gave Dame. It's just unbelievable. Here, Jeremy, thanks for being traded. Here's your max deal. Hey,
deal.
Dame, you want to go somewhere? No, shut up. Don't tell us where you want to go. Hey, Drew, you just got here. Where do you want to go?
Yeah.
It's
just a double whammy, too, because keeping the vets limits you from accomplishing the 2 main things you wanted to accomplish this year. 1, highest draft pick possible. You're winning too many games. 2, develop your young guys and figure out what kind of core you have or who you're going to build around in years to come. But let's bring them off the bench, and it's been a disaster. Last one for you, Gundy. We're 10 days or whatever it is away from the trade deadline. I'll give you Robert Williams, Anthony Simons, DeAndre Ayton, Jeremy Grant. I'm probably missing Matisse Thybulle. I'll give you 5 guys. How many of those 5 are still on the roster? You don't have to give me names. Give me how many of the 5 on February 7th will still be on the roster.
I'm going to go with 4 of the 5.
God, that's depressing.
And is Matisse the only one traded for like a second-round pick?
A bag of chips and a washing machine.
Maybe I think probably the guy that has the most value around the league is probably Rob.
Rob, yeah.
His contract's not that big, and he looks pretty good when he's out there on a per-minute basis. But even then, I don't know if they're going to do it. I don't know if they're going to do anything.
What is it?
And I think this Jimmy Butler thing is holding up a lot of the trades.
Mm-hmm.
And if Jimmy Butler can't get moved with 2 years left, then I think it makes sense as to why Jeremy Grant is probably not going to get moved.
There's a level of diehard, Blazer psychos out there that we love. I would just ask you very quickly as you go here, if you're bringing back Jeremy and Ant next year, is that finally the thing that breaks them, or do people just pretzel their way into telling you this is a good thing?
I think it could break a lot of people. I think it is absolutely something that is a clear mismanagement and a mistake, in my opinion. And I think it would be wise for them to try and not hold on to those guys long term. I guess they'd have the summer, but again, we said this last year, and it feels like we're in the same place that we were a year ago, and nothing has changed. And that I think is the thing that is the most frustrating for Blazers fans.
Happy Groundhog's Day, Blazer fans. Eric Gundersen, Blazer Banter. Go give him a follow on Twitter at Blazer Banter, and check out his Substack, blazerbanter.substack.com. Keep cooking, Gundy, and we'll chat again soon.
All right, thanks, guys.
There you go, Eric Gundersen, a Blazer Banter. So everybody feeling pretty good.